G'day folks, Rod Moore here from Moore Art School. Welcome to another project, Learn to Paint Club, and I've got an exciting project for you today. I'm really looking forward to it. This has been a painting that I've been wanting to do for some time because it's a photo that I took when I was on holidays, and I'll hold this up there for you. In fact, I might put this underneath the video. I took this photo when I was on holidays over New Year's one year in the Grampians in Victoria. So it's the southern end of the Grampians. We stayed on a sheep station, that little B&B there, you know, little cottage. So we stayed there, peace and quiet, and it was beautiful dusk, late afternoon with these shadows and the sheep grazing and the sunlight just clipping on the shearing sheds. It was just a beautiful, beautiful scene. I've been wanting to paint it for quite some time and haven't got round to it. Today's the day, right? So let's get underway with step one, which is all about the drawing. Now, the important thing about this painting is getting that horizon line in the right spot. So I'll just loosen up some of that paint there. I'm just going to use blue to draw. So just looking at this, I want to get that line that runs right through there. And it sits under the halfway mark, but higher than a third, I think. And it lowers slightly to that side, around about there. And it just gently runs downhill like so. Now, I really believe that our starting point with this painting, we're about to move into step two, our blocking, but where would we start with this painting? I think we have to get that right. And in this case, I think our starting point is this distant hill land, or distant mountain ridge, establishing the value of that first, and then going our darks here and here, and then darker still in here, dark in here, and then coming into the foreground. I think that's probably the order we need to work to make logical sense of this painting. So it's a little bit different each time we do a painting. Depends on the painting itself and what the subject is. Sky's pretty simple in this one. Okay, let us start with this distant hill. So it's going to be mostly blue, but we want to lighten it off and we want to grey it off. So a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow. So hopefully you can see that there on the tip of the brush. A little bit of blue, a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow for the greying effect. Okay, and look, I think that's probably pretty close, but I'll just go a little bit wider. Now this is a late afternoon scene. I've gone a little bit wider because I know I'm just going a little bit bluer. I know it's going to dry a bit darker. Okay. So it's a bluey grey is what we're painting in there. And what are we looking at here? We've got around here, we've got, so merge it into that background colour just to get some soft edges. And look at the way I'm using the brush. You know, I'm holding it here. I probably should be holding it more there, right? I've got the flat of the brush there and I'm just swirling it round, really is what I'm doing. There's no grandiose technique. Maybe there should be. But, you know, with trees and things like that, don't try too hard. Just scrub it in sometimes is the best approach. Right? That's a little bit on the red. It's a little bit warm. So I'll just cool some of it down with a bit more blue. Okay. And leave a few gaps. But don't repeat shapes. So if I just extend one of them a little bit taller, all of this foreground, we're going to paint in the shadow colour. Okay, so we're still doing step two of the Moore method, the block in, but all of this foreground here is going to be mostly a shadow colour, but it's got to be a warm one. So I've picked up a whole lot of yellow and red, putting it into the shadow tone that we've been using. Okay, add some blue just to tone it back. But see how that's a warm compared to the other tones there, it's a warm, earthy sort of tone, right? Now let's just pick out the shape here of our shearer's shed. Now we're moving into step 3. So we've done step 1. We've got our drawing in. We've done step 2. Our block in, even though it was a little bit disjointed, we had to stop and start. But we've got there. So now we're going to start step 3. So step 3 is all about details, highlights, finishing touches. Okay. So really what we're going to do is detail up our shearing sheds. We're going to put the highlights in through the grass, highlights on the trees and a few little details on the trees, and then possibly, you know, 1 or 2 sheep in there. Although in this photo they're just little dark marks, you know, but we might pop a couple of those in to counterbalance the shearing shed. So I think the most important thing for us to do is the shearing shed, especially the light side of the shearing shed. So I'm going to go and find, so what the little bit of colour I had in the brush is tinted that white. So and that's what I think we'll go with. So we're going to do, you know, hopefully I'll be able to get close in here of what we're doing. But there's a triangle there, and then it runs away to there. And then that runs out there. Okay. So that's the light hitting there. And then the light is also hitting. I'm doing this a little bit different from what's on the photo. Light's running along there. And then the light is catching here as well, which is the second building there. It's just catching on the side wall there. That's around about the tone, I think, maybe just a touch more of the cadmium yellow deep in there. That's around about it there. Now, the key to this is not to use too much paint. Just load the brush up and then very lightly we're going to drag it across, and we want to let it break up a little bit in parts, okay? You'll see what I mean. Just pull the brush gently through. So I haven't got a lot of paint loaded on there, okay? And I'm just going to start around about here. Now, can you see the way that that's breaking up? It's still letting plenty of the underpaint come through. Probably too much in that spot there. I want to have more paint in this section through here, but it'll be very useful in further parts of the field here. Whoop. Now it's a really nice tone, that right there. So I'll get a bit more paint loaded up. Good-o. Well, let's get a little bit darker up in this section here. Let some of that dark break through. Okay. Let's get some green tone in here now. We'll get the blue, get a little bit of this yellow ochre, and cadmium medium. A little touch of red. Red's always good to put into your greens. Okay, so the brush is loaded up there and the light is hitting down this side of these trees. Just shaping up some trees there. Keeping in mind you've got your light on one side, dark on the other. Helps get that three-dimensional shape, which is what we're looking for. A little bit less so out on these. I might go just a little bit lighter, just because it's a bit more distant here. Nice. Now, I'll hit some bit more highlight up into here now. Take it a bit off the brush. Now it looks like the sunlight's coming crashing through there and clipping that back tree there quite nicely. That's a bit better. It makes it look a little bit more interesting in that foreground area now. And your eye is going to want to sort of work its way into the painting and past these highlights and into this section in here, which is where we really want the eye to go. So I think we've progressed this painting quite nicely. We're still in step 3, obviously. We're doing our details, highlights, finishing touches. Now I think we're going to move into smaller details, and I'm going to go for my little rigger brush. And what we want to do is really clip in now some tree trunks and things like that. So I'm just going to use the lighter tone here on the palette. And let's just experiment with running a few little tree trunks and things. Okay, I might need to counterbalance those with some darks on the trunks as well. I don't want it to be too much light. Probably could be a little bit more on the orange side, that tone. A little bit of sneak through there. It's good. I might just actually, I think that's a better tone. So I'll just add that in here, because they were a bit light, those. Okay, well, I think we've finished this one. It's a great little painting actually, because it's got this nice rich dark in the foreground, this nice light there, and the highlights hitting onto the shearing sheds. And of course the nice big gum trees out the back. Really good little painting, definitely one to have a go at. I hope you've enjoyed it. 3 steps, remember, with the Moore method. Step 1 was our drawing, step 2 the block in, step 3 was our detail, highlights, finishing touches, as you've just seen me fluffing around a little bit there at the end. Don't do that bit, right? Know when it's time to stop, which is something I'm always trying to remind myself. But this is a good painting, have a go at it, take some photos and send them through. It's really hot in the studio here today, so I'm going to call it a day. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time in the Learn to Paint Club. Cheers for now.